So you've decided to buy a new home and you know for sure that you want to be in Lincoln Park, Chicago. Well, I don't blame you. I'm a resident of Lincoln Park, Chicago. And in my opinion, it's not only the #1 neighborhood in all of Chicago, but it's the #1 neighborhood you can live in the entire country. So if you're somebody that's thinking about making that move and starting the process of buying a home here in Lincoln Park, Chicago, where I'm currently sitting, then this is the video for you. So we're gonna dive into some things that you may want to consider. We're gonna outline 5 or 6 different sections in terms of your budget, the type of property you're looking for, a specific location within Lincoln Park that you may want to live based on different attractions and different schools. We're going to talk about the general state of the real estate market right now in Lincoln Park, Chicago, and then we're also going to highlight at the very end about 15 to 20 of my favorite things about Lincoln Park. And this is coming from somebody that spent over 7 years living in Lincoln Park, Chicago. So if you're thinking about living in Chicago, this is the video for you. Stick around so you can find out more details. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Jordan Pyle and I'm your go-to Chicago real estate agent. My team and I have been servicing the city of Chicago for the last 10 years, and we get calls, texts, emails, DMs every single day from people just like you reaching out to inquire more about starting the real estate process, whether it's buying a home or selling a home here in Chicago. And we get a ton of people moving from out of state that are reaching out to me because of these videos and asking about how to start the process of purchasing a home. So if we can be of service to you and help you achieve your real estate goals, feel free to just text the number on the screen and a team member or myself will get in touch with you within 24 hours. So we're gonna get on into today's video. This is gonna be an exciting one, and this is really gonna help you kind of peel back the onion of Lincoln Park to ensure that this is for sure the neighborhood you wanna invest your hard-earned cash in. But before we go, be sure to check out all the free resources down in the description. And if you love this video, please let us know by liking, commenting, and subscribing, and definitely turn on the notifications so you can be the first to know about all things living and moving to Chicago. All right, here we go. All right, so the general outline of this next section here is gonna be talking about 5 distinct sections or things or generalities that you may want to consider before you actually start the process of purchasing a home in Lincoln Park. So the first 2 are going to be combined because I think they're kind of dependent on each other, and then the other 3 are going to be just other things that maybe you want to consider. So the first thing on the list is if you reached out to me today asking me about buying a home in Chicago and specifically Lincoln Park, I'm going to ask you, well, if you're looking in Lincoln Park, what style of home are you looking for? So that's going to be the first section here, is the style of home. And what I mean by style of home is we have everything in Lincoln Park from single family homes worth $30 million all the way to studio apartments for $200,000, right? So when we talk and we start to figure out and uncover a little bit more about what your needs are, we need to determine, are you looking to buy one of 3 properties? The first set of properties are going to be your condos in Lincoln Park. The second are your townhomes, and then the third are going to be your single family homes. We're going to just focus on those 3 today, but there are other things such as if you're looking to buy land or maybe you're looking to buy a multi-unit property, but we're going to stick to the 3: single families, townhomes, and condos. So if you're looking for let's start with condo, then I want to give you some general breakdowns of the average sales prices for condos in Lincoln Park, Chicago. So if you're looking to buy a resale property or basically a condo that's not new construction, you can expect to spend $575,000 on average, which is up 1.8% year over year from last year. And now, if you're looking to buy a condo in Lincoln Park, you're looking to spend about $1.25 million for a new construction condo. And this is actually up 15% from the year before. So the new construction condo market is performing very well, and the resale market in Chicago is nice and stable. So a condo is going to show up in a couple different ways in the Lincoln Park neighborhood. One of 2 ways: if you're more on the east side of Lincoln Park, closer to the Lake Michigan, you're going to find a lot of high rises. You're going to find a lot of vintage high rises, condos with sweeping lake views or even city views, depending on what direction you're facing. However, a lot of people flock to these areas. Just one thing to note: if you're looking to buy a condo in a high rise in Lincoln Park, you're often going to have really high HOAs or really high monthly assessments. So you're just going to need to factor that into your overall budget to make sure that it can be affordable for you. And sometimes this is going to rule people out, and they're going to go for a condo but a different style. And this is going to be more of what I call either a walk-up condo or more of a boutique building condo. So the building I live in, for example, is like 30 units. So I would consider this more of like a mid-rise boutique, and there's all different condo owners. There are rentals, but there's not, designated rentals. It's basically all owned, and some of them have the ability and are exercising their right to rent their unit. But in general, you're living with majority condo owners in kind of a mid-rise walk-up building like this one. And then you also have smaller walk-up buildings such as 3-unit buildings or even 6-unit. Your standard style based on the standard lot in Chicago. You're gonna have a 25-foot lot by 125 foot deep. And so that is going to be able to build a duplex down, a simplex, and then a duplex up. And so those are three different styles of condos, right? You may have the duplex down on the lower level. That's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath. It's usually gonna be your largest and most expensive style condo for that type of building. Then you're gonna have your second floor, which is usually a simplex, and it's just gonna be a 1 level. This is usually a 2-bed, 2-bath, usually the most affordable option. And then the top floor is gonna be very similar to the second floor, except you're gonna have also a private roof deck access. And this is gonna be your basically in the middle between most affordable and most expensive for this type of condo. So that's gonna be your first property type. If you're thinking about condo, what do you want? Do you want the duplex down? Do you want the simplex? Do you want the mid-rise building? So those are some things that you're gonna wanna consider. The next thing that we typically see, especially with move-up buyers, is people often opt to go towards a townhome. Townhomes are really popular for people that maybe have growing families. They're looking to stay in the city. They don't yet wanna move out to the suburbs and get the yard and the more space, the more privacy quite yet. They wanna be in Chicago still. Then oftentimes people go for townhome living. It can emulate single family living, but typically is a little bit more vertical living. So versus that walk-up style condo that we just talked about, you may be living like front to back, whereas a townhome, you're living over multiple levels stacked on top of each other. So I just listed a property, it's not in Lincoln Park, but it's in Lakeview, which is the neighborhood above, and it's a 4-level townhome, and it's a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom, about 2,650 square feet. That's listed around $825,000, just to give you a frame of reference. So in that same category, talking about stats, if you're looking to buy a resale townhome, you're gonna spend just under $800,000 at $791,000. And this is up 5% from the year prior. And then if you're looking to buy a new construction townhome, there's not a lot of these out there, and when they do come to market, they're often nowadays they're a very luxury product. So you're gonna expect to spend on average $1.95 million for a new construction townhome. And that's actually a flat number year over year. Now, moving into the next section, we're talking about single family homes. And this is my dream, is to eventually start selling more single family homes in Chicago. Ever since I moved here and started my real estate career, I always knew that eventually selling $2 million, $3 million, $5 million, $10 million single family homes in Lincoln Park, Chicago is a goal of mine. So that's what we're working towards, but we're not there yet. And eventually, once we sell enough of those, then I'll actually own my own single family home in Chicago. And the reason I say this is a future goal is because your single family homes, on average, your resale, so your non-new construction homes, your average sales price in Lincoln Park is $2.1 million. And this is up 3.5% year over year. And your new construction single families in Lincoln Park are coming in at 2.7 million, which is down a pretty staggering 18.6%. So you can see the luxury market is a little bit sluggish right now. Your townhome market is pretty strong. It's flat and then up 5%, and then your condos are a nice stable market. And we'll get more into that here in a little bit. But that's the first thing that we're gonna talk about, is the style of home, and that's the first thing you're gonna wanna consider. And a lot of times, and why I said at the beginning that the next thing we're gonna talk about in the second section is your budget. These kind of determine, one determines the other, right? So if you have a budget of $3 million, well, you could probably buy a condo, a townhome, or a single family home. But if you have 500 grand, then you may be struggling to get a townhome or a single family. So understanding where your budget is, knowing what you are going to be looking for and the amount of space that you need. Is it actually a good option to be in Lincoln Park? Could you go somewhere a little bit more north, or maybe somewhere a little bit more west, get more for your money? It all kind of depends, and everyone has different needs, everyone has different preferences and wish lists. But those two things, your budget and your style of home, often correlate very closely together, and those are the first two things you're going to want to consider before buying a home in Lincoln Park. All right, next up on the list, the next section, we're going to be talking about where specifically, what location in Lincoln Park do you want to buy? And what I mean by this is, do you want to buy kind of more on the southern portion of Lincoln Park, closer to North Avenue and more of like the Old Town area, where you're going to be really close to North Avenue Beach if you just draw a line directly east? Or do you want to be maybe on the east side of the city, a little bit more north, where you have close access to Lakeshore Drive, you have close access to Lake Michigan and the lakefront? So that is going to be my favorite area in Chicago, but I may not actually want to live there just because of the different types of properties that I can get. Like I said before, the east side of Lincoln Park, you're going to have a lot more high-rise condos and basically really expensive single-family homes and townhomes. So I am not able to afford that, but in a perfect world, I'd have a nice single-family home on the east side because I love to be on the lake. I love close proximity to the lake, and that's just something that I prefer, and some other people have different preferences. So, for example, maybe people decide they want to be more on the west side of Lincoln Park because they need close access for daily commutes and being able to access the expressway. So I-90, if you're on the west side of Lincoln Park, your access point to get onto the highway and the expressway is going to be a lot easier than if you're coming all the way from the east side of Lincoln Park, right? And then maybe on the north side of the city, you're gonna get a little bit more for your money, and you're gonna have a little bit of a different feel versus being a little bit more on the southern tip, where you typically see a little bit more of a lively action. On the north side, it's gonna start to change and just start to feel a little bit more low-key, a little bit more neighborhood feel once you continue to move closer north towards Lakeview. The last thing you wanna consider when you're thinking about locations in Lincoln Park is people oftentimes moved and buy a home in Lincoln Park because of the schools. So whatever schools that your kids are going to, if you need to be close proximity or maybe even walking or short drive distance away, well, that could obviously determine where you want to buy a home in Lincoln Park as well. So that's the third section technically, is what area in Lincoln Park are you considering, and you can kind of see different price points and different values and what you can get in different areas. I would say the east side of Lincoln Park is probably going to be the most expensive. Then everything kind of around like Oz Park. So if you look on a map, you'll find Oz Park. Everything surrounding that within like a half-a-mile radius is going to be one of your most prime areas in Lincoln Park. All right, so the next section to consider is the general state of the market in Lincoln Park. And what I mean by this is the state of the real estate market. So how is the market, right? So I did some research. I'm going to look at some stats here in reference. So in general, for all properties, whether they're single family homes, condos, townhomes, you're looking at roughly a 40 to 60 day market time. And so this is largely going to be likely swayed by the amount of inventory that is either a condo or a townhome versus a single family, because the single family homes do have a little bit longer market time. So in general, your luxury is going to be what I would consider more of a balanced market, and it's actually coming in at 3.5 months of inventory. So we like to consider in the real estate world a balanced real estate market where you have anywhere between 4 and 7 months of inventory. So like I just said, Lincoln Park luxury, which is pretty much anything considered like over $1 million, maybe even $1.5 to $2 million, that's gonna be selling, or there's gonna have 3.5 months of inventory. So a pretty balanced market. And on the other end of the spectrum, for condos, single family homes, we're typically seeing these sell pretty quickly right now, especially this time of year. This is being recorded in the summer of 2023. And a lot of these larger homes, so a lot of these townhomes, you know, these 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, they become really popular around this time of year, and even bigger condos and single families, just because you're in between school seasons. So you get the relief of kids being out of school, but also if people need to move into a different school system, they're able to make those moves, sell their home and buy their home this time of year. But in general, the beauty of Lincoln Park, it's a beauty and a curse, is it's a very desirable market, right? So there's gonna be a ton of competition for all the good properties. So properties that are priced well in a good location and the condition is on point and is move-in ready, you're typically gonna have a pretty long line out the door in terms of competition. So just be prepared if you're looking in Lincoln Park and you're looking for something that's nice and updated in a great location, well, you're gonna have to bring your A game in terms of an offer. And so my team and I can obviously help you with that. We can make sure you're prepared, that you can stand out in a competitive market, and that's just kind of the nature of the beast when you're buying a home in Lincoln Park. And on the other end of the spectrum, even though it may be slightly more competitive to other neighborhoods, it's always gonna hold its value. So in terms of resale value, you're not gonna be buying in Lincoln Park and expecting crazy year-over-year appreciation. It's a very stabilized market. So if you're looking to invest money and just ensure that that money is gonna be worth the same amount or just slightly more over time, over a long enough time horizon, well, Lincoln Park is a very safe market to invest in. And so a lot of times you may be looking at anywhere from a flat market to a 2% increase, maybe even as high as 4, 5, 6, 7% increase. But historically, you're not going to see too much of an increase compared to, you know, some more rapidly gentrifying neighborhoods or other areas that are more on the come up, because Lincoln Park is very solidified. You know, it's kind of already been grown out since people started moving to Lincoln Park back in the day. So that's the general state of the market right now. Expect a competitive market, but there's going to be a lot of great inventory that hits the market. It's just there's not going to be a ton of inventory right now. So you're going to see more buildup of inventory in the more luxury market, and anything, let's just say under $1 million, well, expect it to turn over pretty quickly, so be prepared. All right, thanks for staying around this long to the video. I appreciate you hanging till the end. This is honestly the best part anyway. anyway, so you're gonna reward yourself. But we're gonna talk about some of the features here and some of my favorite things, why people like to live, and some different attractions of Lincoln Park, which makes Lincoln Park so special. So this is just gonna be kind of a rapid fire list, and I'm just gonna rattle these off, and then we're gonna finalize the video, and we're gonna get on our way. So one of my favorite things, or this is my favorite thing, and you've heard me talk about it in other videos, but it's the lake front access. So being so close to the lake, being able to get into Lake Michigan or run along the lake on the lakefront path, whatever it is, just that general location and accessibility to the lake is incredible. North Pond is a nice relaxing spot to go and hang out. If you like ice cream or shaved ice, you have Annette's, which is actually on Armitage Avenue. I think it's Armitage and Sheffield area. That leads me to the next thing, which is Armitage Ave, which is going to be a lot of different shops, a lot of cafes, a lot of different great restaurants and bars. You're gonna have the Chicago Pizza and Oven Grinder restaurant, which is a very famous place for some great pizza, deep dish pizza. You have 2550 North Lincoln Park West, which is actually, architecturally speaking, it's my favorite building in Chicago. So go check out 2550 North Lincoln Park West online, and you'll see why I love that building so much. Like I said before, lakefront access, you have access to green spaces. I mean, it seems like around every single corner you have different parks, whether it be the main Oz Park, you have Lincoln Park. You also have these little neighborhood community parks that are kind of on all these different corners throughout Lincoln Park. So there's definitely no shortage of parks, whether it be for your kids to play or dogs, or just to have some green space to feel like you have some relief from the concrete jungle. Well, you can find that in Lincoln Park. You have the Lincoln Park Zoo, of course. You have North Avenue Beach, Chicago History Museum, Alinea, which is one of the top restaurants in the entire world, is in Lincoln Park, Summer House Santa Monica, Ovely. You have J. Parker Rooftop for a drink, and then Second City for some great comedy. So that rounds out the list of some reasons that you may want to move to Lincoln Park, Chicago, and also some things that you may want to consider. So if you're buying a home in Lincoln Park, Chicago this year or next, reach out at the number on the screen, and a team member or myself will get in touch with you within 24 hours to talk about how we can help you with your real estate goals. So I hope this video has been helpful today. If it has, do us a favor and like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you can be the first to know about all of our future videos. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Peace.